I guess first to start, this is the largest film of the series. Most cast, most locations.
Right.
How is that kept a secret? Because of the fact that now you're going out in public, it's not just restricted to a house or one location. How is your involvement kept a secret? How are the plot points kept a secret? How is all of that top secret?
It's funny you mention that because when we went to the whole auditioning process,
we had no idea it was a paranormal.
It was a paranormal. We assumed it was something big because we're at Paramount Studios auditioning for something, but we couldn't even leave the room with the sides that they give us to audition with, and there's a code name for the actual. I think I can give it out now. It's OT Beach was the project's name while we're shooting. So everything was OT Beach, and just to throw people off in case they're. And the script's constantly evolving, and we had to turn it in. There was a lot of we couldn't really have visitors on set.
I mean,
we were allowed a couple, and then
there's definitely been people who try to guess because when we're around, everybody's looking at us like, oh, what are you guys filming? Oh, OT Beach.
We're like, it's a student project.
There was there was definitely one time. I don't know if you remember. It was we were filming, then some car passed by really fast, and there was some young kid screamed out like paranormal.
Yeah.
And we were just like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean? So, but they do a good job keeping it like on the down low.
Yeah, totally.
When are you guys because there's it's less of a fixed camera. It breaks formula from what the previous films were. Less structure. It's much more fluid. Are you handling the cameras at all times?
Yeah.
I handle it, a little bit during the film, but he's definitely had to pick up a skill.
Yeah, because we have an awesome DP, Gonzalo Amat, but him and Chris Landon, our director, would set up pretty much shots for me. It would be like, and they would say,
what you need to show,
this is what you need to do, blah, blah, blah. And you develop this because you have to but they rather have
acting
us holding it
behind
because they like our energy behind the camera. You know what I mean? And as I'm saying certain lines, I'm naturally moving in certain ways. So but you have to remind yourself that you can't be too focused on what you're watching on this little screen because you have to be in the moment as an actor, and also you want to.
There's a possibility that there's going to be millions of people, so you don't want everybody going, going
watching
crazy
this
watching
little
it.
screen, right? Exactly.
From that, obviously you're working somewhat off a script. There's also a lot of improv that goes into filling in what's happening in the moment. How does that chemistry develop between you guys, between Gabrielle as well, in order to make it feel very authentic?
They started mixing and matching a lot of the actors before we got casted, and I feel we clicked right away. But we also started hanging out in real life, and I feel
the friendship just built from there. And so doing the whole improv while we're on set, the parts where we were doing improv, it was easy because I know how he talks, he knows how I talk, I know his reactions.
There was a trust.
It was easy to work with each other and trust with Chris Landon and us.
Because once he got to know our personalities, it gave him freedom to play with the script too, because he's like, oh, we're gonna do this now. He's like, once he knew I was down for anything pretty much, we both were like, oh, okay, let's have fun with this, and the script kept on evolving, and it's funny the stuff that actually made it to, I wish they would release a whole other Paranormal of all the stuff that didn't make it, because it would be amazing as well.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, because I know previously with all the other films as well, this one, you guys shoot tons of coverage. There's tons of footage, there's tons of stunts and gags and bits. That's enough for multiple films, multiple storylines. Are there things, having now seen the finished film, are there things that you wish would have somehow made the cut? Like, is there one moment that you can fill me in on or whatever that you were like, I wish, I can't believe you didn't put that in?
I don't think I wish that anything would have been in it, because I think the film itself is perfect the way it is. There's definitely a lot of funny stuff that I necessarily think I wish it was in the film, but I definitely wish I could see it so I can look back and laugh at the good memories.
There's certain dirty jokes I think that Chris, because Chris can get dirty with his jokes,
definitely.
and I feel like there's certain ones that didn't make it, and we're like, it's better that wasn't mentioned, Jorge, or you know what I mean? Just because we're so, we're not. We have fun with our jokes, and he's such a easygoing guy. So there's certain things that I was like, oh, that would be so funny.
Well, here now with the possession too, it goes a lot darker than what we've seen in the other films. Usually, it's just kind of this very stoic, statuesque kind of thing. Here, Jesse gets much. Yeah, you kind of see a development. How does that? Was that kind of put in and did that kind of develop with Chris as far as expanding beyond we've already seen, so it doesn't feel like it's just kind of the same thing?
Right.
That was definitely the goal. He wanted, the audience to be able to see exactly the whole process, and then also because there was a lot of questions that needed to be answered, like, well, then how are these people becoming demons, or where are they coming from, and whatnot? And Chris Landon did a great way of telling the story of how there's a coven group of witches that mark these, first-born male children and promise them to a demon host.
It's also touching on a topic that hasn't been like really shown in a lot of American films, is brujeria and santeria, which is very real in the Latin culture. There's so much mysticism and superstition that like people in Latin culture like they grow up with, and I feel this one has opened the door to all these new possibilities. Literally opened the door, but it also it's connected all the other paranormal, so it's awesome because it stands alone as its own movie, but at the same time, fans of it will love it, and people that have never watched the paranormal will also like grow to appreciate it and
probably watch the other ones. So
yeah,
because, Do you get clued into where this fits in kind of the larger mythology of the other films? Because I know they've said there's an end game at some point. We'd like to get there. Do you guys get any idea of where it slots in, or do they kind of just keep you?
Yeah, we just get random changes to the script, and we're like, okay. But then he explains to us, this is why this scene is here, and he kind of described like the whole backstory to the Paranormal movie, what the Coven of Witches are, what their plan, which they actually mention in this movie, what the plan is, and it's mentioned very quickly. In a scene when we go visit Oscar's character who got possessed, is the guy who, and so he, so Chris described this whole thing of like what the actual backstory is, and it's really creepy actually. It's kind of crazy, yeah. That's something like, because I was like, what? That's what's going on? You're like, oh.
That's what we want to know.
We're
like, tell us more.
Exactly. I don't think I can, but I don't know. I mean, it could constantly change. So I don't
Being fans, I guess, of the series going in, how cool is it, I guess, to, in that last scene, to kind of be where you are, with who you're with, doing what is happening, is that kind of this?
Yeah, I mean, even like when I met Oren Pelly, I was like, what? And he's like the nicest guy. Like, so sweet, right? Like, so normal. You would never think, like, you just walk down the street, he's like, Dad, he's like, Jorge, how are you? He's like, yeah. Like, super nice guy. But walking to that house, I was like, oh my God. It was surreal. It's almost like you're going on to, like, something at Disneyland, you know what I mean? Like, you're just observing everything. You're like, oh, so that's where that's the chandelier.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Exactly, yeah.